2019 is coming to an end already, and there are basically 4 phones that stood out to me this year. And those were the iPhone 11 Pro Max, the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus, the Google Pixel 4 XL, and the OnePlus 7T Pro. Now, of course, there are other smartphones such as the Galaxy Fold and the Huawei Mate X, which fall into a completely different category of smartphones. But yeah, when it comes to normal smartphones, these 4, in my opinion, are the best ones to choose from. And they've also done multiple speed and performance tests in the past, comparing the iPhone 11 Pro Max to the Note 10 Plus, to the OnePlus 7T Pro, to the Pixel 4 XL, and they've also done recently a charging speed test to see which phone has the fastest fast charge. And in this video, I want to see which one is the fastest between the Note 10 Plus, the Android King in terms of features, and the Pixel 4 XL, the Android King in terms of the software. So welcome to the ultimate XenOptX speed test between the Note 10 Plus and the Pixel 4 XL. We got 10 different test categories. So yeah, get those snacks ready and let's begin the speed test. Get 100 gigabytes of data for just £17 a month with Smarty Mobile, which, fun fact, is actually powered by 3. This is by far the best deal that I've ever seen for a smartphone plan. It's a Black Friday exclusive deal only live until the 3rd of December. Sign up using the link below and you also get 1 month for free. And thanks to Smarty Mobile for sponsoring this video. Okay, so first of all, we actually done a few settings that we applied in order to keep this test as fair as possible. For example, both phones have exactly the same third-party apps installed. The screen has been set to never lock by using this tweak called Kin Screen to keep the display turned on, as normally you cannot set it to more than just 30 minutes. The brightness has been set to the same level on both. Now they might appear different because of the position of the camera lens, so do keep that in mind. Rotation lock is off, there's no SIM card in any of these phones. Both phones are on airplane mode with Wi-Fi enabled. Do not disturb mode is enabled, the battery life is at 100%, and we've also closed all the apps running in the background, and we also have the latest operating system on both phones. So this test should be as fair as possible. Okay, so starting off with the specs, on the Pixel 4 XL we have the Snapdragon 855 processor, which is based on a 7nm process. However, this processor is actually almost a year old now, so yeah, it's definitely not the newest chip that you can get in an Android phone. That would be the 855 Plus, which unfortunately the Pixel 4 XL didn't get. It has 1 high-performance core at 2.84 GHz, 3 high-performance cores at 2.42 GHz, 4 low-performance cores at 1.78 GHz, 6 GB of RAM, and 128 GB on this model of UFS 2.1 storage. Moving on to the Note 10 Plus, this one comes with the Exynos 9825 processor, which is a Samsung-made chip, which is based on a 7nm process. Now, there's also a Snapdragon model that you can get if you're in the US or Canada that also comes with the same processor, the 855, as the Pixel 4 XL, so there you go. But all the international models of the Note 10 Plus do come with the Samsung-made Exynos 9825 processor. And on this one, we get 2 high-performance cores at 2.73 GHz, 2 high-performance cores at 2.4 GHz, 4 low-performance cores at 1.9, 12 GB of RAM, and on this model, 256 GB, which is also the baseline, by the way, of UFS 3.0 storage. So spec-wise, the Note 10 Plus seems to outperform the Pixel 4 XL by quite a significant margin, at least on paper. I mean, take a look at the amount of RAM. This one comes with double the amount of RAM, and the storage speed should be significantly higher because this is UFS 3.0 versus 2.1. So let's see how all of this translates to benchmarks and actual day-to-day use. Okay, so starting off with the CPU benchmarks, we're going to start us off with Geekbench 5. And in this one, interesting results. So the Note 10 Plus scores higher when it comes to the single-core performance. However, the Pixel 4 XL scores higher when it comes to the multi-core performance. Keep in mind that we have the Exynos 9825 on Note 10 Plus versus the Snapdragon 855 on the Pixel 4 XL, both being based on a 7nm process. Next up, we have Antutu, and this is a more general test because this one not only stresses out the CPU, but also the GPU, the memory, and so much more. And here, the Note 10 Plus gets a score of 445,159 versus 384,559 on the Pixel 4 XL. So that's a gigantic difference. It seems like the Note 10 Plus won in terms of the CPU performance, also the GPU performance, also the memory with almost double the score. And in terms of the user experience, it seems like the Note 10 Plus was slightly higher than the Pixel. Okay, moving on to the GPU benchmarks first, we're going to run Geekbench 5 Compute and see which one gets a higher score. And again, the Note 10 Plus gets almost double, actually more than double in this case, than what the Pixel 4 XL got. Moving on to a more demanding GPU benchmark, we have Slingshot Extreme, and in this case, the Pixel 4 XL scored 5,796 points versus 4,993 points on the Note 10 Plus. So yeah, interesting enough, it seems like in this case, the Adreno 640 GPU inside the Pixel 4 XL was actually more optimized for this app when compared to the Mali G76 GPU inside the Note 10 Plus. However, both of these phones actually have a very different display resolution, which means that the higher the resolution, the lower the GPU score would be, because obviously the GPU has to render all of that, all of those pixels, well, more pixels, so the results would actually be affected. So what we're gonna do now is actually run GFX Bench, and we're gonna run the 1080p Manhattan benchmark off screen. So this means that all the pixel, everything would be rendered in the background, so that the display resolution will be affecting the actual results. So this is the best way to compare a GPU versus another GPU without putting the screen into consideration. So in this case, it seems like the results are actually almost the same, 72 frames per second versus 70 on the Pixel 4 XL. So Note 10 Plus was slightly higher. Okay, next up we're going to run some JavaScript benchmarks and see which one actually renders a heavy-duty website faster. So starting off with SunSpider JavaScript, in this case we're actually doing Chrome versus the Samsung browser, so basically the native browsers on both of these phones, and it seems like the Pixel 4 XL was quite a bit faster. So obviously the lower the time, the faster the performance. Now here's a Chrome versus Chrome, and it seems like these scores are pretty much the same. They're a bit better on the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus now compared to the Samsung browser, but still the Pixel 4 XL does have a better browser performance than the Note 10 Plus does. The perks of being on stock Android. So now we're actually going to run Google Octane, which is a different JavaScript performance benchmark. This one is obviously made by Google. And we have pretty much the same results here, with the Pixel 4 XL scoring over 20,000 and the Note 10 Plus being just shy of 19,000. Again, this is the Chrome versus the Samsung browser, and when we move on to Chrome versus Chrome, pretty much the same story. Yeah, Pixel 4 XL definitely has better browser performance than the Note 10 Plus does. Now, moving on to the storage speed test, I want to see which one of these phones actually has a faster storage. And surprise, surprise, that's not the Pixel 4 XL, that's actually the Note 10 Plus, which comes with UFS 3.0 storage, so we get up to 1.5 gigabytes per second read speeds and about 586 megabytes per second write, compared to 822, so about half the read speed, and again about half, or even less than half, 180 megabytes per second write on the Pixel 4 XL. Okay, next up we have the Wi-Fi speed test, and in this case, we're going to run each phone independently so that they're not affecting each other's results, basically. So unfortunately, we only have a 50 megabit per second connection, and in this case, they both managed to reach that really closely. The Pixel 4 achieving, slightly higher speeds, but these are just negligible differences. So they both have a very strong Wi-Fi. And now I want to do a test that we've never ever done before. So we've done a Wi-Fi speed test, but what about a cellular speed test? Okay, so both phones have the Smarty SIM card in, and we are currently on 4G with full bars of signal, and we're getting around 39.9 download speeds and 28 megabits per second upload, which is pretty impressive. However, what's really awesome about Smarty Mobile is that they offer 100 gigabytes of data for just £17 a month. This is by far the best deal that I have ever seen, and Smarty is actually offering even more than just that. You get unlimited calls, unlimited text, as well as free European Union roaming, which means that you can actually use those 100 gigabytes of data while you're traveling in the EU as well. And rather than being a one-year plan, Smarty is just a one-month plan, and you can cancel it at any point in time you wish. Also, if you have a tablet or even a laptop that supports a SIM, well, you can actually use the Smarty SIM in those as well. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a smartphone. And fun fact, Smarty is actually powered by 3. Simply sign up using the link below to also get 1 month for free. And hurry up because the 100 gigabytes for £17 a month offer ends on December the 3rd. And thanks again to Smarty Mobile for being the sponsor of this video. Okay, moving on to the big test. This is the app launch speed test. So we're going to launch the exact same apps on both and see which one actually loads them faster. Okay, so we've started a timer. First app being CNN, and it seems like both of them loaded CNN at about the same time. Same story with BBC News. Same thing with Twitter, Instagram, and it seems like they're pretty much neck and neck. They're both loading up YouTube, so we're gonna search for Zone of Tech and literally load the most recent video. Okay, next up we have Chrome. We're gonna load our website and wait for the banner to load, and the Pixel actually loaded that faster thanks to, again, the faster browser performance that we tested out earlier. Next up we have the camera. We're just gonna take 3 photos. Next up we have Crossy Road, and again, they're pretty much neck and neck. The Pixel 4 is a bit faster. Next up we have Hitman Go, which again is one of my favorite games on mobile. So you definitely got to try this out. Seems like the Pixel 4 is just a bit faster, but again, they're pretty much, oh no, the Note 10 Plus is actually catching up, and it seems like the Note 10 Plus is a bit behind now. So next up we have Asphalt 9. And this is a very demanding game, by the way. It's a huge game in terms of the actual file size. So the Note 10 Plus's storage might actually come in use, and it actually has. So it loaded the game a bit faster, Not a huge difference though, so it seems to me like the hardware on the Note is indeed more powerful. However, the software is more optimized on the Pixel. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting comparison in that case. And the Note 10 Plus was a bit faster in this regard to load Asphalt 9. So we're just gonna wait for both of them to fully load up the game. And next up we have Minecraft. So let's see, the Note 10 Plus is doing pretty well. The Pixel 4 XL is very close, so we're gonna create a new world, and we're actually going to use the exact same seed on both so that the maps created are identical. Otherwise, one of them might create a map faster because it's, a bit simpler than the map on the other one. So we actually loaded up Coastal Village on both, and they both loaded up the game at about the same time. So Minecraft is now fully loaded on both, and it seems like they're both very fluid in terms of the actual Minecraft experience. Okay, next up we're going to load Photoshop Express and open up an 8K image, apply the exact same filters and effects on both phones, and see which one actually exports this faster in full 8K, however at 85% compression. And it seems like the Note 10 Plus was actually first. Moving on to the video editing test, so this is in Video Shop. So we have a 4K video shot on our Panasonic GH5 so that, the tests are fair, because otherwise if this was shot on one of the phones, then that phone would actually be advantaged. So let's see, in terms of the export, we're actually converting this to 1080p, so 4K back to 1080p, and let's see which one exports this faster. It seems like it's gonna be the Note 10 Plus, and this is the last test, so we're almost there, and yep, the Note 10 Plus is now, or almost, there we go, Note 10 Plus finished, and we got a score, or a time, of 2 minutes and 38 seconds and 25 milliseconds, whereas the Pixel got 2 minutes and 43 seconds and 12 milliseconds. Very, very, very close. Okay, next up we have the RAM management test. So here, both of these phones have a very different amount of RAM. We have 6 GB of RAM on the Pixel 4 XL versus 12 GB of RAM on the Note 10 Plus. So basically double the amount of RAM on the Note 10 Plus. So what we're gonna do now is reopen all of the apps that we opened up before in the Apple Launch speed test and see which one of these phones actually managed to keep more apps open in the background. So let's have a look. Okay, so starting off with the Clock app. So this seems to be open on both, so that's good because that's a tiny app. CNN. That's open on the Note, has to reload on a Pixel. BBC News, again, open on the Note, has to reload on a Pixel. Twitter, open on the Note, has to reload on a Pixel. Instagram, open on the Note, has to reload on a Pixel. Let's see, YouTube, pretty much the same story, has to reload on a Pixel. Chrome, this is open, oh no, had to reload on the Pixel. Camera app, this was, well, it was instantly open on the Note. Crossy Road, this is pretty much fully loaded on the Note 10 Plus. So yeah, the Note 10 Plus seems to be just murdering the Pixel when it comes to RAM management. Obviously we have double the RAM, so there's that. Yeah, so the Note 10 Plus managed to keep all of the apps so far open in the background, whereas the Pixel had to reopen almost all of them except for, I believe, the Clock app. So yeah, same thing when it comes to Asphalt 9, Legends, same story, pretty much fully loaded on the Note 10 Plus, and it has to reload from scratch on the Pixel 4 XL. Okay, next up we have Minecraft, which this one is fully loaded. It took a bit to load into the scene, but it's definitely not loaded on the Pixel. So the Pixel is not doing great at all when it comes to RAM management. Let's have a look at the more heavy-duty apps. So Photoshop, interesting enough, this is fully loaded on both, and Video Shop, this is a bit of an odd one. We actually got an ad for Google One, but it seems like it's fully loaded on both. So yeah, in this case, as you can probably tell, yes, the Note 10 Plus has a significantly better RAM management, mostly thanks to that 12 GB of RAM when compared to just 6 GB of RAM on the Pixel 4 XL. Okay, next up we have Face ID or Face Unlock on the Pixel 4 XL versus the fingerprint reader on the Note 10 Plus. And yeah, it seems like using Face Unlock on the Pixel 4 XL is significantly faster than using the fingerprint unlock on the Note 10 Plus. Like, this is a gigantic difference between the two. But hey, what happens if we use Face Unlock on both? So, kinda. The Note 10 Plus has Face Unlock in the way that it uses the front-facing camera to basically see your face, so it's just a 2D image, and in this case it's much faster, and it's a bit closer to the Pixel 4 XL. The Pixel 4 XL was still faster, but keep in mind that the Pixel 4 uses 3D depth sensing cameras to map up your face in 3D, whereas the Note 10 Plus just uses the front-facing camera. So yeah, Pixel 4 XL is more secure and faster when it comes to Face Unlock. Okay, so in conclusion, I'm quite surprised. As in, I'm surprised in terms of both phones. First, I was not expecting the Pixel to launch apps so fast, especially considering that the storage speed is about half of what the Note 10 Plus offers. I mean, during the Apple Launch speed test, it was pretty much neck and neck with the Note 10 Plus. Also, the Note 10 Plus does have a more powerful processor, so considering that and the slower storage speed, I'm very impressed with how well Google has managed to optimize the software on the Pixel. That being said, the Pixel did horribly in the RAM management speed test, where it barely even managed to keep any apps open in the background. So when it comes to which one is faster, well, that would be the Note 10 Plus, of course. However, considering how optimized the software was on the Pixel, I'm actually looking forward to what Google does next year with the Pixel 5. Like, if they add, obviously a better processor, the 865, and especially more RAM, I'm really looking forward to that, because the only thing that was holding the Pixel back was actually the hardware, whereas the only thing that was holding the Note 10 Plus back was the software, because otherwise with these specs, this phone would have performed even better if it was running, for example, on stock Android. So yeah, there we go, this has been pretty much it in terms of this one, so thank you for watching. Definitely make sure to check out the previous speed test and the charging speed test, and let me know in the comments which phones do you want to see compared next. So yeah, thank you for watching, I'm Daniel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Xenofech, signing out. Cheers.